Today we're joined with Dr. Corina Villiger and Lucien Villiger on the Cigar Snob Podcast. It's very nice to have you both here today. Welcome.
Thank you. We're very happy to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan.
So we were just with each other in Las Vegas. How are we feeling after our long trip? Yours longer than mine.
I feel great. It was such an amazing trip, and the show, I enjoyed the show very much. I met so many people. It's great to be in the USA. I love it to be here, and I'm looking forward for the last 2 days on the beach.
Very nice. And some more cigars, I bet.
Surely, I have packed quite a lot because that's really special to smoke a cigar at the beach.
Very nice. So, Dr. Villiger, the cigar world knows you as Mr. Heinrich Villiger's daughter, of course, if they didn't recognize the name already. But you're also the head of the board of directors at Villiger Cigars. Is that correct?
I'm in the board of directors, but I'm going to be on the head of directors later on.
I see. So, Dr. Villiger, but you're not a PhD. You're a medical doctor. Is that correct?
I'm a medical doctor, yes.
Very good. What medicine do you practice?
I'm a family doctor. I have my own practice since 30 years. And I see from children to old people, I see the whole population. Basically, I'm having my practice in a village. So my patients are like a big family to me.
Very nice. What village or what city is that?
I'm living in the same house that my father grew up, right next to our factory, in Pfeffikon, Canton Lucerne. That's near Beromünster. That's when during the wartime, that Beromünster station was very well known as a broadcasting station. So it's in the center of Switzerland.
So we just did a Switzerland piece in our Cigar Snob magazine, and we actually featured the Lake Lucerne area.
It's about 30 kilometers. I've seen your article. I very much liked it, yes.
Oh, very cool.
And yes, it's about 30 kilometers from Lake Lucerne.
Very nice. So how much time do you dedicate to your medical practice and then being on the board of directors at Villiger?
I think it's about like 80 to 20. I'm like 80% or 75%. That's my medical practice. And the rest is on the board. And depending how much we travel and what is going on in the factory or in the company, there might be more. I might be needed there more. But it's about like 75 to 25, something like that.
Sounds like a busy schedule.
I like to work.
Do you go into your appointments with your patients smelling like cigars?
Mostly not, but sometimes it happens. And they laugh at me because they know, of course, because we have the company in the village, they know very much about my duties that I have there too. Yeah.
Lucien, do you live near the factory also?
Yes, but I live in Zurich, in downtown in Zurich, and it's between the factory of Pfeffikon in Switzerland and the one in Tingen in the southern part of Germany. So it's like 45 minutes to each of the both.
45 minutes. Yeah. How's traffic in that area nowadays?
It's quite okay. If I leave Zurich in the morning, I'm against the mainstream direction of travelers, so it's okay. And when I come back in the evening, it's okay again because all of the commuting people are leaving the city. So
that's good.
It's great.
You have time to listen to our podcast in the car while you're driving.
Yes, of course, of course.
So just to inform some of our listeners that may not know, Lucien, in 2018, you replaced, I believe his name is Mr. Grublier, on the board of directors. Your grandfather, Mr. Heinrich Villiger, at the time said that you were an asset of youth and energy to lead the company into the future. So that's been almost 4 years now. Can you tell us a little about the experience and maybe how you're steering the company into the future?
Yes, so that was in 2018 when my grandfather asked me to join the board of directors. I felt really honored then. So I didn't had to reflect on the question. I was directly full of motivation. I said yes, and now I'm the fifth generation, the grandson of Mr. Henry Villiger, of my grandfather, and I'm really happy to be in the company now. So my aunt is the fourth generation, and my grandfather is already he is the third generation. So it's a long family history, and we have all three generations actively in the company. So I feel really happy about it. And of course, I'm a big admirer of my grandfather. He reached so much in his life and in the cigar business. And but at the same time, I have to say that he always had been a great grandfather to us. So we went together working in the garden. We went cycling in Switzerland, in southern Germany, and we even went to hunt together. He with the rifle, I was just like supporting him in the Black Forest in southern Germany. And afterwards, there was always a cigar, of course, to enjoy the day. But first, we always had to do something. So first do something, finish something, and then you enjoy the cigar.
Very nice. I'm sure that the Villiger Black Forest was named from the times you were going with your grandfather hunting.
For sure, yeah.
So growing up as children and grandchildren in this family, I mean, this is a very prestigious name and a very prestigious company. Do you always, I mean, you went into the medical profession when you were younger, and you decided, I believe you're an attorney?
I'm an architect.
Oh, an architect. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
I apologize.
Yeah.
So, do you always have the vision of joining the family business at one point?
I'm the oldest daughter of Henry Villiger, who is the oldest son of Max Villiger. So when I was a small child, always I spent as much time as I could in the house of my grandmother and grandfather. And in this house, because it's quite close to the factory and because my grandfather was a dedicated cigar man, there was always talk about the business, and often I could accompany him to the factory. And I remember when I was a child going there, and the perfume of the tobacco in all of the rooms and around in the surroundings, and I liked it very much. And very soon I decided I would have wanted to become a boy, because it was clear that becoming a boy it would be easier at that time to be part of the factory or the company, because at that time women weren't considered to go into some kind of a leading position in a company. And then, but my interest always was the same, and I tried to prove to my father that I could do anything a boy could. So I was a real tomboy, and also went hunting with him and helped him slit open the animals to show him that I could do anything a boy could. And then when I was 17 years old, I went to Tennessee as an exchange student, and my father came to visit me on his way to buy tobacco in Mexico. And then we went to some tobacco fields, because in Tennessee, and he told me about his time in the US. He was in Kentucky and Tennessee when he was young. And then I kept on always showing my interest. At the same time, I was very fond of medicine. Also at that time, I knew it was easier to become a doctor than to lead a company as a woman. So there were like two passions that I had. Later on, I was very fortunate that my father took me along to the Dominican Republic, and we looked at tobacco fields and factories there. We met Abam. I don't know whether I'm doing the right order, but also I was very fortunate to accompany my father to Pinar del Rio, to Havana, to the festival. And one of my best experiences is to smoke a cohiba together with Alejandro Robaina on his porch. I never forget that. It was so special with my father and Robaina there on the porch. So, and I think when I was about, when I was about 30 or 32, I asked my father if I could be part of the board, because I said, I'm your daughter, I'm the eldest daughter, I've shown so much interest. And he said yes. So that was a very good, I was very happy that he accepted. He didn't ask me, I asked him. But since then I'm on the board, and I've been also to Bahia looking at tobacco. And yeah, I just... it was clear for me I think because of my relationship to my grandmother and grandfather. And unfortunately, he died when I was 7 years old, but I still remember. So it was for me clear that I'm part of the cigar family.
That was a very beautiful description of your upbringing. And I love how you described cigar smoke being a perfume to you. So you were always around it, obviously.
I was always around it, yes.
And when exactly do you start smoking? cigars?
I started smoking cigars when I was maybe about 22, before I smoked cigarettes.
Right. It was a different time back then.
That's a different time back then. Everybody smoked cigarettes.
Sure.
But when I was about 22, I smoked my first cigar and I realized it was a completely different experience and I really liked it. Yeah.
Very nice.
But when I was maybe 17, I once smoked an export or a Kiel or a Krumme. But I really enjoyed starting cigars at 22, mid-20s, something like that. Yeah.
Lucien, when did you start smoking cigars?
So my grandfather already took me as a little child in the factory. What I loved the most was the tobacco storage rooms with these big bales of tobacco, and I like to smell on the storage tobacco. But of course, I wasn't allowed to smoke already. So as a young teenager, I started try some cigars. But of course, there was first a bit of coughing, but then sure. I appreciated to smoke the cigars, yeah. And in 2008, when I did high school, and then I had the opportunity to come over to my first trade show in the USA in New Orleans. I was 18 years old. It was my first trip to America. And I really appreciated the cigars and the world of the tobacco. And I think it was the moment when I felt that I belonged to the cigar world, and I wanted to be part of the tobacco family.
Well, you've become an expert right now, or you're smoking a very good cigar, because you can tell by the ash, and you can show that to the camera. You have a perfect ash going there.
It's the Villiger 1888 from Nicaragua, a really great cigar. It comes with a filler of Pennsylvania and Nicaragua, with a Sumatra wrapper from Ecuador, and it's a really great cigar. I think I can feel the volcanic soil of Nicaragua. For me, one of the most beautiful countries with an incredible landscape, the volcanoes in Nicaragua. And I can feel it smoking the cigar.
So you probably love is that your favorite cigar from the portfolio?
I think so. For the moment, I would say that's my favorite cigar. Of course, we keep changing and introducing new blends and trying to improve them. But I can say that this cigar is really a great one.
It's because you listen to the Cigar Snob podcast, and I do all the live reads, and that's my favorite cigar. So you must have heard the ad, and then for sure you're enjoying the cigar now. And Dr. Villiger, what cigars do you like in the portfolio?
I really like also, right now I'm smoking the Villiger Miami, and I like that one very much because it has a lot of body and it's a little bit stronger with the Dominican filler and wrapper, binder and Connecticut Ecuador wrapper. So I like that very much, and I think it's very fitting to smoke it in Miami. Otherwise, I really like Villiger do Brasil. I like the Maduro, and my preferred format is the Robusto, because I think it's a nice smoke, not too long, not too strong. I just like that ring size.
Very nice. So here on the podcast, I mean, we get a lot of feedback questions that they send us, and all sorts of stuff, whether it's etiquette or how you hold it or what I should wear or what shops should we go to. But the number one question that we always get asked is something about flavor profiles and palate and how you develop your palate. So there's big differences between the US market and European market as it relates to smoking preferences and palates. And I'm curious, can you tell me what you feel the differences are in those in a European market versus a an American market?
When I came to the US about 20 years ago bringing cigars, the people I brought cigars to, they said they felt they were too full-bodied, they were too strong. But I think in the meantime, American taste has also changed to stronger cigars. Also in Europe, we don't have box-pressed cigars. Normally, Europeans don't smoke box-pressed, and I see that the Americans like box-pressed a lot. And what I notice is really that I think the market and the taste of the Americans they're different from Europeans. Europeans are more like they found a cigar and they'll stay with it. And the Americans, they ask, what do you have new? We'd like to taste something new. They're more inquisitive. They're open for changes. So that's what I see as the most important difference. And that the Americans are now also getting closer to these full-bodied cigars that we have in Europe.
The Americans are getting closer to the fuller-bodied European cigars?
Compared to 20 years ago when I was bringing my cigars and they said, well, they're too strong.
Right.
And yeah.
Oh, and how does Villiger play a role, especially in the U.S. Premium cigar market? How does Villiger fit into that role, especially now that we've attended PCA and you've been able to speak to some people?
For sure. We are not as big as other in the US market, but our big aim is to become a relevant player. And I think what I like about America, what I noticed when I came here is that cigars here in America are enjoyed by everyone and all generations. So I think that's a great thing. And our aim is that every cigar aficionado in the United States in the future will have a handful of Villiger cigars in their personal humidor.
Amen.
Yeah.
So the other big difference between the American and the European market is that you get Cuban cigars in Europe where you're not allowed to buy them here. So the audience may not know this, but Villiger owns Fifth Avenue Trading, which is a distribution arm for Habanos. How has the decrease in supply of Cuban cigars affected the European market as it relates to Fifth Avenue?
It's like for the first time that Fifth Avenue is also selling to their stores cigars from the Caribbean countries, from Honduras, from Dominican Republic, and from Nicaragua. And because the demand is very high, of course, so we are very happy that since we have our cigar factory in Nicaragua and we have a good strong partner with ABAM in Dominican Republic, that we are capable of filling that vacuum that existed. And also, of course, because of this company, the Fifth Avenue, and in Switzerland we have the Intertabac, which is doing the distribution for Switzerland. We have a long tradition of selling cigar and having a relationship to the aficionados in Europe. So that is also helping us, I hope, to set foot into the American market more. That experience, we have a long experience with cigars because we are having this experience with the Cuban cigars.
Very good. Full disclosure, we don't rate Cuban cigars in our magazine, just as a courtesy to our advertisers. That's why we can talk more about the Villiger 1888 in all of our podcasted issues. Okay, so besides Cuban tobacco, we've always pointed out Mr. Villiger's love for Brazilian tobacco. And it's actually more than just Mr. Villiger. It's kind of a European love affair with it. We'd love to see if you could shed some light on the subject, and do you share the same love for Brazilian tobacco?
Yes, of course. I think the Brazilian tobacco is one of the most underrated tobacco origin countries. I love the sweet aroma of the sugar and light wood and some nuances of pepper in the Brazilian tobacco. But for me, it's also a very personal love story because my first trip to America, to overseas with my grandfather, was to Brazil, and we had a good time. He showed me around. We went to the tobacco growers, on the fields, on the plantation, and of course we went several times to our manufacturing factory in the Bahia state in Brazil. It's a little town, I don't remember the name. It's near Salvador in the Bahia state. And we ate great fruits, good meat, drank cachaça, and we even had the time to go one day to the beach in Brazil. So we really had a good time there. But to come back to your question, yes, I think the tobacco is great, and we only have very good cigars from Brazil. One of my favorite one, I would suggest to you to try one of the Villiger do Brasil. If you ask me, for example, the Toro one, the Claro one, it's a really good and balanced mild cigar.
But the visiting Brazil with you sounds like a great time. Drinking cachaça and going to eating meat and going to the beach.
Yeah, yes, of course.
We can wrap this up now, but before we do, tell me just one more time, like about Nicaragua. Esteli has established itself as a significant hub for cigar production. What's your take on Nicaragua, and how do you regard the cigars being produced in this region?
I think we are very fortunate that we have a very experienced partner there, a long-standing friendship between Dr. Cuenca and my father. And it really helps us with the factory there, their expertise and also the friendship. Juan Ignacio is more like a generation between him and me, but we are very good partners, so we feel very good, very comfortable. And the cigars coming out of that factory are just great. So we really believe that this is really still growing a lot in the future. We are very positive about our Esteli, and we are not the only ones there, obviously. We are very happy that we are part of the community there.
And I think it's, of course, one of the greatest origin countries of tobacco. The Nicaraguans have been growing tobacco since several generations, and even the Cuban tobacco grower that left Cuba, a lot of them went to Nicaragua after searching for a good tobacco growing place. They went to the Valley of Esteli because the weather, the climate, and the soil is comparable to Cuba. And I think the volcanic soil of the Nicaragua region is one of the best natural fertilizer you can find. So for honoring that, we even went to we climbed up one of the highest volcanoes in Nicaragua together, my aunt and me, Corina. It's not the highest one, but I think the most beautiful one in Nicaragua. It's called the Concepcion volcano on the Ometepe Island on a big lake, and it was a beautiful experience. Coming down, we had this great and fresh tobacco fields, and it was a great experience. And we are, of course, really happy to have our own factory and proud of it.
So it's an honor having both of you in today. As you said, you feel that Villiger is going to become a player here in North America, and for me personally, I've seen your cigars evolve here in the United States to a point that it's very, very commendable. I mean, I love the cigars. I think most consumers do. So besides that, again, I really enjoyed the time with you that you came by. I know that you've traveled a lot from Europe to Las Vegas to here and probably back now. So you're racking up your frequent flyer miles. But again, it was an honor. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us. We enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for your kindness. Yes, it was a good time we had.
Thank you. Hopefully we're sharing some more cigars soon.
It would be great.
Of course. Thank you, Ivan.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for watching Cigar Snob on YouTube. If you enjoyed that, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to check out more of our content, go to the channel and you'll see mail-time videos, podcasts, interviews with cigar insiders, and photo shoots with smoking hot models. And if you want even more Cigar Snob in your life, we will print a magazine and ship it straight to your house. It's a crazy idea, I know, but we're trying this out. CigarSnob.com to do that. And otherwise, we'll see you later.